things we do in my lab turn around mainly bacterial genetics. So we work with microorganisms and mainly bacteria, but it also can be yeast or Halopharax is an archaeal model. So we work with different bacterial models and we manipulate them. We make mutants, so we delete genes, we put genes in trans, and this is kind of intellectual, but at the bench it's really streaking out Petri dishes with bacteria on them, making them grow, making chemical zapping so that you can put DNA in, get DNA out, and then sequencing what we get. So doing mini preps, genomic preps, plasmid preps, PCR is a lot of what we do. So that's all on the molecular biology and bacterial genetics side. And we do more analytical stuff. We prepare proteins, so we express proteins to do in vitro assays. We prepare tRNAs and then we do HPLC type assays. These are more analytic. So it depends on the project, what the analytical side might be. But at the core, we have Petri dishes and media, and we do things like Pasteur did them 150 years ago. So when a student is looking for his mentor, or we call them PI, principal investigators, to go and do its PhD, it's a big decision because he's going to spend 5-6 years in this person's lab and he wants to make sure he chooses a good mentor. So I think he should really go and talk to people in the lab when the PI is not there. You want to get the direct feedback from people who are working with that person and ask them the tough question. Does he take care of you on a daily basis? Does he have meetings with you? How often do you publish? Does he take care of getting the papers out? Do we have money in the lab? Is he a pain to work with? You want to talk to people in the lab. I don't think the subject is really important, because you have no clue anyway as a PhD student and you can work on anything. It's more what type of skills do they send you to meetings? Do you have mentorship inside the lab at the beginning, not just thrown and say, okay, do this? So you have to have a list of questions that you would ask the PI, of course, but also people in the lab when the PI is not there. How a lab is built really depends on the PI. Some PIs work great with undergrads and they'll have 10 undergrads always in their lab and they have individual projects. And I think it's great, and I think undergrads should absolutely do research in labs if they want to do a PhD. My lab is more based on a postdoc type model. So I work with, usually I have 1 or 2 PhD students in the lab, sometimes a technician depending on the year. And between 4 and 5 postdocs. And the postdocs sometimes work with 1 or 2 undergrads. So I'm one of the most postdocs heavy lab in the department. It works better with my style of mentoring. I'm a kind of high level mentor, so I'm not good in mentoring every day, and I let the postdoc mentors the grad students and the undergrads. For postdocs, I can give them large directions. I'm still very much in the lab. The coffee machine is in the lab and I go there 20 times a day on purpose so they see me and they can stop me and talk about their research. We have lab meetings every week. So I'm very much involved in what they do. I still bring up a lot of ideas, but I'm not really running the day-to-day operations. I have a great senior lab manager who does a lot of that, and that's the way I like it. But you have different models with different labs. When you're looking for a grad student to come and do his research in your lab, it's a very difficult decision. And I don't really have a system, but I have a very unique HR policy. I think it's so difficult to know if a person is good ahead of time that I just do a random gut feeling type, which is not really rational, but I think works good for me. So first, I always have them do a rotation in my lab. I will not take someone without seeing them in the lab for a month or 2. And usually in a month, you kind of get a good feel of how well they interact with others, how enthusiastic, how curious. I want people who are driven, curious, enthusiastic. I don't know if they don't know anything. That's not, like, knowledge is not an issue, but drive is. There is an issue in science is some people are very intellectually good and then a catastrophe in the lab. So that's going to make it harder for them, and it might make it difficult for them to do a PhD, but it's not impossible. I try and work with the strengths and weaknesses of everyone in my lab and try and improve the weaknesses and build on the strengths. Writing is really important. I say it's the most important skill as a scientist, and unfortunately we're not trained to write as much. Now, we should have much more writing class, scientific writing class, grant writing class, because I write, I would say, 70% of my time between reports, papers, grants, even emails when, no, not the just yes, no email, but sometimes you have to do more elaborate emails. Writing is really important, and being able to put across your ideas in a clear and engaging way. If you can't do that, you're not going to get your papers out and you're not going to get money through your grant.